This is me a few moments before I broke a grip strength world record. And in today's video, I'll be back again competing in a strongman competition in an attempt to break a new one. What's up people? Today I have a special story for you. You see, earlier this year I competed in my first ever grip strength competition. Hey. Thank you. I made a video about it, documenting the entire process, which has now been viewed over 10 million times, which is freaking crazy to me. Like, so psyched that you guys want to watch my strange adventures. That's freaking awesome. Just as a brief reminder for you all, I'm a competitive rock climber, so I climb on rock and I climb in rock climbing competitions, and I love it. I think it's the best sport in the world. But I must admit that grip strength comps quickly took a place in my heart after this one. There was just this thing about the atmosphere that I can almost not even describe. It's just, I walk next to all of these other people and they're just these massive giants towering above me. And you get like freakishly intimidated. It's really scary. But then when I got into it, it turns out these are all just a bunch of giant teddy bears. I'm like a child.
You're still so strong in your grip, that's incredible.
Because of my climbing background, I could kind of keep up with them and do okay at a lot of the events. I even finished second in one of them, and it was this really freaking awesome moment for me. Like, so much fun, and they were all just applauding. Fried my brain. I don't know, everyone was cheering each other on, but still at the same time like trying to destroy each other. And for me, the atmosphere of that competition was like uncomparable to anything I've had in any sport I've ever competed in. And it got me mega hooked.
So I was just informed by this gentleman that I broke the world record by, what?
15 kilos about. Good job.
Thanks. That's cool.
Which is why this video exists, because today we're gonna talk about when I joined the Swedish Grip Strength Championship. But there's a bit of a backstory to it, because I needed to train. You know, I did okay in the event, but I realized that there's an entire culture of training around this. And that's where we're gonna start off the story. I was talking to the guy, there was a guy in the video, Kalle, who he was saying like, good lift after every lift that I did with the Saxon bar.
No. Good lift.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
And I thought he was, you know, kind of giving me a compliment, like, hey, that's a good lift, well done, man. Like, you're good. But apparently in like sports, I think powerlifting, probably the same there, and grip strength, they just say good lift when you're okayed, like okay lift, like this is approved. So anyways, I'm gonna try and learn a little bit from him. So that's where we're going. We're gonna check out an actual grip strength training event. Yeah, I think we're in for a treat. I think it's gonna be a good time. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, because it turns out that Kalle was the Swedish grip champion and he'd won it multiple times and regularly trains with Abrahamsson, one of the OG strongmen. Now, Kalle's biceps are about the size of my legs, so I was quite terrified to do this. And with him was also Tony, who had placed third in the previous championship. Now, I expected these guys to be training hard, but I had no idea just quite how hard it was. It included these kind of weird ammoniac smells to get as much power into your system as possible. That was one of the key rules, and the second you took a break, Kalle was on you and was gonna give you shit for it. So, yeah, I mean, all I could do was try and keep up.
It was like a heavy punch in the face. Oh.
Now, these guys showed me around. They showed me everything that I needed to know before the championships, including what type of grips we were going to be competing on, as well as, you know, how the entire thing worked. Whoops. Training with these guys was such an awesome experience for me. Tony proved to be a very humble and kind man, and Kalle just kept pushing me as hard as he possibly could. And I thought I stood a chance at managing a podium at this event when I was the first person in Sweden to lift this crazy dumbbell. But that's when they told me about the dark horse, Filip.
Oh, hey!
Filip is a gigantic arm wrestler at around 170 kilograms heavy and 2 meters in height. This guy is the most terrifying human being I have ever met, and he was going to be at the event.
Let the adventure begin.
It was with a mix of nerves and excitement that I approached the competition venue. I knew that this was going to be a serious competition for me. I was going to have to try really hard if I wanted to get the results in this one. And that's kind of what made it quite different from the previous one, is that this was an actual competition where I could place well.
Det är sant, den är ju som bicepen eller större liksom.
Yeah. Now the big guys, they were warming up doing these shoulder presses with what was about the same weight that I could deadlift when warming up. So I knew that this was going to be hard, and I quickly met up with the biggest competition of them all. But as you might expect, he turned out to be a giant teddy bear, just like the rest of them. He was the sweetest guy ever. He was teaching me a little bit about arm wrestling, showing me how many pull-ups he can do, which was a pretty massive shock to me, as he punched out about 12.5 of them with no big issue.
Dude!
So yeah, this guy was strong, to say the very least, and it was going to be interesting to see just how hard he could grip.
Heavyweight. Right, we got the guy who reported that I got one of the world records in the last video again.
Yep.
But I'm curious because you've seen me do some grip strength stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think I will do on this?
The world record, I believe, is 175. I think that's Ben Galper who did that world record from the US.
Okay.
I think you might be able to do 170 at least.
Okay.
But I hope for more.
You hope for more? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got some betting numbers. All you guys at home bet as well. And yeah, it's time to get the show started.
In total, the event was going to include 4 different grip tests, with the first one being a thick bar deadlift. This is the one that I feared the most, because it involved a very heavy deadlift. I wasn't sure if my actual back was going to keep up for this. On top of that, you would only get 3 attempts in total, so you had to be tactical with which weights you went in with, and I decided to start on 150.
170?
But that meant I had to take a big step up in order to achieve the world record, so I decided to go for 170 kilograms next. Kalle went in with that as his warm-up weight, which means that he was going for a pretty high score on this round. Of course, 170 was no problem for the big man himself, but for the rest of us, that was going to be quite heavy. Now this was the moment. If 170 kilograms would go, I would have a chance at the world record. And it felt okay. It didn't feel too heavy. It felt like I could do quite a bit more. And Tony used his third attempt to get the weight up as well, which meant that I had to choose. Was I going to go for the world record and get above 175, or would I go for the same as the world record in an attempt to get a better score at the competition?
Tack. Eller ja. Kom igen! Ja!
Peter here got in preliminary first with this 175 kilogram lift, but Filip quickly broke it with a 180 kilogram one. Kalle of course couldn't let that stand and went in for the same weight as well. But now the question remained, how was this gonna go for me? I decided to go for 180 kilograms, as I really wanted to score that world record, but I knew that this was gonna be my weakest event because, well, I've never deadlifted 180 kilograms before, so to do it on a grip and implement seemed unlikely. But the spirit of competition can make you do quite unlikely things, so I had to try.
Ryggen måste upp, ja.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Nej!
Du ska med och träna rygg.
Ja, jag vet.
There wasn't much time to be salty about my failed attempt because the homies were still in it. Kalle had one more attempt and he went for the high score of 182.5 kilograms.
Kom igen! Ja!
This put him in first place. However, Filip still had one more final attempt and had to choose his weight and decided to go for 190 kilos. Now since Filip couldn't get it up, the scores for the first round was settled.
Okay, first event is over. I am in shared fourth position because I failed the 180 kilogram lift, which means that Kalle is first ahead of the pack, and then we have Filip, the biggest guy here. But I think that was the worst event for me, and I should have potential to do better in the rest. So time to get cracking, get back into business. The fight isn't over. Let's do it.
While I did think that the worst event was over, the coming ones weren't gonna be so easy either. This second event was a plate pinch crimp hold, so you had to hold 50 kilograms in each arm from just your fingertips. A lot of people didn't even manage to get this one off the ground, and I was pretty sure we were gonna have to try really freaking hard to get a good score here. Kalle had a long history of winning this event with over a minute's hold, so that's the goal that I was shooting for. Now 44 seconds isn't exactly what I was gunning for, but I wasn't too disappointed because, well, I didn't quite know what to expect. And regardless, I was mega psyched for Tony, who actually beat Kalle, which is the first time he's ever done that in that event. So yeah, he was pretty psyched, and we still had one more giant left to go.
Kom igen!
43 seconds. Filip got 1 second less than me, and it put us 1 point closer to each other. Now all I had to do was make sure that I placed better than him at the last two events, and I would score my spot at the podium. And to be fully frank with you, these are the two events I figured would suit me the best out of the remaining ones. First one was a triple stacked pinch hold of 60 kilograms that you were supposed to hold for as long as possible. Again, people struggled quite a bit to get this up, but I knew that this one would suit me, as I'd done a 100 kilogram Saxon bar lift just a couple of months earlier, which is a thick pinch thing. Anyways, Filip was out before me, and he didn't actually score a crazy high number. He was just above average on this one. It was still enough for a preliminary first place before the rest of us hopped on, but still, I was pretty confident I could beat this and actually, preliminary grab my spot on the podium. Again, my training buddies beat me. I don't know, I was just psyched for them, to be honest. And with this win, Kalle actually secured his spot on top of the podium, unless he basically completely flopped the final event, since he'd won the first one and this one. And 2 wins out of 4 is probably gonna score you pretty high.
This man, Filip. And we're gonna be competing in the final event for second or third place, it seems.
Yeah, it could be, but I think it's gonna be for third or fourth.
Yeah. How tall are you?
I'm about 2 meters, like 199, I think, somewhere around there.
All right. Let the giant battle begin.
And so it was time for my favorite round of the event to begin. This was a dumbbell pickup of a handlebar that was about the same thickness as a Coca-Cola can. And the first couple of lifts, they went down very comfortably, and my competitive spirit quickly started to wake up.
Kom igen! Oh!
Now around 85 kilos is when the majority of people started to drop off, and that turned out to be the average, which meant that we would probably have to carry very, very heavy loads to get the highest score in this round. And I started to recruit every single fiber in my body and get ready for some heavy, heavy lifts.
Ja!
After a while, a lot of people started to drop off. And around 100 kilograms mark, well, this happened.
Kom igen nu, Kalle! Kom igen nu! Kom igen! Sist! Kom igen! Kom igen! Nej!
We lost Kalle. He was still in first position, he'd secured that safely before, but now it was only me, Tony and Filip left competing for second and third position at the Grip Strength Swedish Championships.
Oj! Kom igen nu, Filip! Kom igen! Nu gäller det! Ja! Snyggt! Är det lätt igen? Snyggt där! Okej. Ja. Och Filip kan kom etta och står och du slår mig. Kom igen!
Filip got 105 kilograms up with the smallest of margins you could possibly imagine. And with that, everything was on me and Tony. For me to get a podium placement, I needed to beat at least one of them.
Fight for glory! Kom igen, kom igen, kom igen! Alltså spänningen fortsätter. Alltså fy fan. Nej, han åkte ut ett till.
After Filip let the biggest Viking roar I'd ever heard out, it was time for me to go on my final lift. Tony couldn't get the 110 up, which meant that I had to do it if I wanted to secure that podium placement.
Okay. 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 Vänta. Fan. Okej. Fan.
Ultimately, I couldn't get it up. And that meant that me and Filip had scored the same score across the 4 rounds. And due to the fact that he won one of the events, he was placed third overall. But as the gentle giant he is, he invited me up to the podium with the big boys, and I got to celebrate for a little second and mentally prepare for the next one.
How do you feel the winner?
The winner feels great, so I hope I will do it next year as well.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Tony?
I feel great too. I will see you next year.
See you next year.